Great. Feel free to keep your cameras off. It's not a problem, but I'm very happy to have you here. I had a number of persons who have close to 60 persons registering. So I guess people are taking their time. I also sent out a reminder, but you have been here on time and I would like to respect that. So I would like to begin this morning. So allow me to share my screen and we will get going. I may have some internet trouble where I have to take off my camera. So if you can bear with me, because I noticed that this morning that the screen was freezing up a bit. So um, we will proceed. Hmm. Right. Okay. All right, great. You should be seeing my screen now. All right, let me just take this. Okay, I assume everyone is actually seeing my screen. So again, welcome. I am Michelle Low Chew Tung, the founder of Inveni Business Coaching and Inveni Business and Technology. Inveni Business Coaching is actually a subdivision of Inveni Business and Technology Limited. But I'm truly glad that you're here. I'm glad that you showed up, and I know that you would have showed up for a reason. So maybe you are ready to grow. Maybe you have tried exporting before and it felt like swimming in murky waters. Well, today I want to help clear that water to the best of my ability. And the fact is, this is not just another talk. We are keeping it simple, we are keeping it strategic, and we are keeping it relevant as much as possible. So whether you're selling gourmet sauces from Trinidad or offering even like legal consulting or consulting services in St. Lucia, for instance, this session I believe is for you. So let's get into it. So in terms of what we are diving into, first I'm just going to be going to walk you through a three-stage export playbook that my company has developed with respect to exporting. And this is whether you're a manufacturer producing cocoa products in Trinidad and Tobago, or you're offering virtual solutions or digital solutions, this framework actually gives you a clear path. So from assessing your readiness as an exporter to actually growing your exports, and we will get to that shortly. And then we will take a look at some of the most common mistakes businesses make when trying to export. And trust me, I have seen everything from great products getting stuck at customs to service providers being underpricing themselves because they didn't research their target markets as well as they should. So, and we will try and talk a bit about that. how to lead and how to lead with confidence, because I have combined exporting together with leadership, because I think it is crucial in order for companies to achieve export success. And it's proven and tested based on the work I have been doing in the region. And finally, I want to share a quick preview of my coaching cohort that's coming up in July, which is basically a hands-on program. So no fluff, just progress. So let's go. All right, so to kick things off with a quick check-in, I just have a poll I just want you to participate in, just about 60 seconds. Let me just get that moving. The thing is moving so slowly. Here we go. All right, let me just take off my camera and see if I can just move a little faster here. Just 1 second. So I'm going to launch the poll. Just take about 60 seconds, I would think, for you to, and I'd like if the 5 of you all or 4 of you all can actually participate, just for me to get an idea as to where you're at with respect to exporting at this juncture. Already exporting, looking to grow. Great. Just starting to explore. Right, still unsure. Okay. All right, great. We have one more. Okay, so we have 2 persons. Okay, good. So thanks a lot for participating. This sort of frames where we are in terms of you all in the room today. So I want us to, let me just stop sharing this. Right. Yeah. So thanks for sharing. I think this was helpful because it looks like we have got a great a mix in the room at the moment. And that's exactly what this session is designed for. So no matter where you are in terms of your export journey and which side of the spectrum that you actually fall, I believe that this workshop can help you in some shape or form with respect to the framework that I would share shortly, which will provide some measure of clarity and hopefully give you the confidence that you need, and as well in terms of strategy moving forward. So let's just walk through some of the most common and I dare say costly export mistakes that I have seen a lot of Caribbean businesses make. And whether you're in professional services, food and beverage, fashion, agro-processing, or any other business sector, these are the traps that you would want to avoid. And as leaders, the way we respond to these challenges will define our growth. So the first common mistake is waiting too long to start. And this is common for many of us, especially those in service-based types firms, especially like in the consulting or training sectors. So in places like Trinidad and St. Lucia, I have experienced and seen these types of businesses taking quite a while before they can start exporting their services. So we think we need to get everything perfect before we begin. But the truth is, exports success starts with momentum. It does not start with perfection, right? It's about strategy. So if you're creative, let's say in Curacao, or a food brand in Barbados, begin by testing one product or service in one market, because leaders at the end of the day move with intention, even when things aren't fully polished. And the next mistake is not understanding the target market. We need to understand our target market. In fact, fashion entrepreneurs or beauty brands or even retailers, this one will tend to hit hard This one will tend to hit hard. Just 1 second. I'm just allowing two persons to enter. Right, so this one will tend to hit hard. So a product that actually sells in Trinidad won't automatically win in the US market, for instance, or even in some markets in CARICOM, right? So because I have seen agro processors struggle because they didn't adjust their packaging or messaging for their particular buyers in a particular market. So you want to do your work, your homework in terms of strategy, and you also want to understand the cultural nuances as it pertains to each market. So, for example, if you're offering training services from Trinidad or from Grenada, how you communicate value may need to change if you are looking at an extra-regional market, let's say like the US, in terms of context. Because leading means learning deeply and consistently. And constantly. Yeah. Another common mistake that I see is poor pricing strategy. So across the board, from e-commerce in Suriname to wholesalers, let's say in Jamaica, pricing can make or break you. And some undercharge to compete, while others forget about shipping, taxes, or even distributor cuts, right? All of that is heading in the wrong direction in terms of exporting and exporting successfully. The strategy is, if you're in education, distribution, or even beauty, you need to ensure that you review your full cost structure and price based on value and viability, not just what competitors charge, which is normally the first place we would look in terms of doing any type of research. But competitor research is not the only type of research that you need to do when it comes to exporting and understanding your target export markets. A confident leader prices to sustain and not just to sell, right? So keep that in mind. Another common mistake is ignoring leadership and team gaps. This is big, especially for solo founders or even small teams in professional services or the creative industry. So if the business relies only on you, exporting will stretch your capacity very fast, right? So you have to build capacity as it pertains to export readiness for you to begin to export, okay? And then also you want to be able to lean on, whatever small team that you may have within the company. And then we have exporting without a strategy. Too many companies, from agribusinesses in Guyana to fashion firms, even in St. Lucia, we dive into exporting without a real plan, right? It might work once, but it won't scale. That I can guarantee, because basically the strategy here is that you need to create a roadmap, right? So even if you are in retail or F&B, you got to know your buyer, your markets, your logistics partner, and your goals. That's the kind of strategic leadership that will transform a one-time order into a long-term market where you are doing business and you're exporting consistently. So tell me, just you can put on your mic and speak, which one of these export mistakes feels most familiar or real to any one of you? And maybe even if what's one barrier you think businesses face when entering nearby regional markets, for instance, just like Latin America. Anybody?
Exporting without a strategy.
Yes. That's the one that feels most real.
Yes, we see the opportunity, we dive head in without a clear plan for sustainability. So
Yes.
that is where I find the challenges. And don't forget, sometimes the markets are unfamiliar, and as small businesses, we may not have access to the level of research required, and then we may not be as targeted as we should be. We may try to go mass market, and then we waste resources trying to capture everybody. But we know that our product is not for everybody.
Correct, definitely. And thanks a lot. That sounds like Donna. Donna, I'm having some internet challenges, so I took off the camera to see if I can get some more bandwidth. But thanks a lot for sharing. Luke, your hand is raised. Can you jump in?
I think one of the, well, I speak specific to Trinidad and Tobago, one of the mistakes I think people make in Trinidad from observation is that they like the idea of exporting, so they start to get into the idea of exporting is good when they haven't really fully maxed out on the domestic opportunities. And that actually, when you look at it from a strategic point and when you look at it from profit margin, that is really where this should be trying to maximize out first before they even go to export. So if they actually do the math, they realize that because of the cost of exporting, it actually may make sense to try to go after the balance of the market that in the domestic for them as a first. Not that export is not a bad idea, but with usually a lot of them still have limited capacity because it's small.
Yes.
So if you do a costing or contribution margin type approach, the contributions can really be reflecting, if they're doing the maths and they're paying attention, that they should go after certain domestic markets first that they're probably not exploring properly.
Yeah.
So that falls, I think that falls on the exporting without a strategy.
Definitely, and I agree with you so much, Luke, and thanks for raising a number of things there with your comments, because as at next slide I'll be going through a three-step exporting process, and what Luke was talking about really falls within the first stage in terms of exporting. Sometimes we simply receive inquiries from abroad, and we are ready to get go and say, oh, I'm ready to export, but you have not conquered your domestic markets. And there is room for growth in that market. But when you talk about exporting now, you're talking about increased capacity, and then of course, funding for you to be able to take it all the way at the end of the day. So thanks so much. Thanks so much for sharing, Luke and Donna. Really appreciate it. So let's take a look now at this three-stage export growth path as it pertains to exporting. It's a three-stage framework built specifically for our Caribbean SMEs because it has worked and continues to work, and it also forms part of a larger 8-point framework that is called the Inveni Export Strategy model. So I will just take some time here just to walk you through the different stages. So as I said it, and as you can see, it's a three-stage framework that is built for exports. As it pertains to stage one, which is referred to as your assessment stage, this is really the foundation. So you start by asking, is my business truly ready to export? And one of the things you want to do is to evaluate your product market fit. Do international buyers need what you offer? And will they pay for it, right? This often requires market research and surveys, sometimes pilot orders, or some level of product modification based on the target market with respect to market entry. So some type of repackaging will probably need to be done. So for instance, like a Trinidad and Tobago education provider did not meet Barbados's certification standards for a particular program. Yeah, so you want to check, the next thing is that you want to check your internal readiness. Yeah, can you deliver consistently? When you actually meet with a buyer, it's not just about this first order. the buyer is always looking down the road. His lens is, you are thinking now and he's thinking 3, 6, 1 year ahead. Can you even scale in terms of volume? And that is on the product side. If you are a service-based company, it's a similar situation. You may have, can the service that you're providing, can it scale? Do you have enough, let's say if it's consulting and it's a particular program, can you actually, meet the needs of that particular market in terms of whatever service that you're offering? You may not have sufficient consultants. You just may not have the capacity, because if it's just you can't do that on a consistent basis. So you may actually lose out on a job because you don't have that ability. And not just that, it's because that you have not assessed your export readiness, where you are at right now, before you can actually take that leap into the export markets, right? Another thing that we have to look at is compliance. And with compliance, we are talking about labeling and licensing and the documentation that is required. And these vary across markets. So for example, Suriname rules may differ from Jamaica, and Latin American markets may require different types of documentations. And not only that, the documentation may have to be in the Spanish language. Not may, it will have to be if it's the Latin American markets. Suriname, it depends on product, and sometimes what sector you may or may not need, and I'm saying this from experience, you may or may not need to have Dutch labeling as part of your packaging. Okay, so let's just turn our attention to stage 2 in terms of expand. Now you have chosen your market, you have done your research, you have chosen your market, hopefully wisely. And who knows, maybe Guyana might be a better fit for you rather than looking at Suriname, for instance, depending on language, depending on culture, depending on the duties and so on that exist within that market. So you as the business owner, you want to be able to tailor your offering to suit that particular market, right? And that's where we need to understand the dynamics of the market that will come with the market research that we will be doing, right? And which we should have done under stage 1, or which is in terms of assessment. And then when we look at stage 3, we are talking now about sustainability, because this means now that you are staying and growing your markets. You are strengthening in partnerships, and that is in terms of buyers, agents, and sometimes even embassies or trade agencies. And that's something I also want to put forward. Many of us, I saw from the list of persons who registered, a number of persons, I think more persons are not currently exporting. They are considering exports as part of their business strategy. Sometimes we don't know where to go, where to look, who we need to turn to in order for us to get support. In your country, and I know that we have persons joining from all over the region based on the list. There are certain business support organizations, or what we call export facilitation and trade facilitation agencies that are attached to different ministries, and most likely your Ministry of Trade in your country, where you can reach out and you can get support, so that you get to understand that they can help you in terms of your market research. They can help you in terms of understanding the certificate of origin that you will need to get for your product. And basically, sometimes they will have training in terms of international trade as well. So you want to get pretty okra within your own country or jurisdiction with respect to that agency. In terms of services, though, you have the coalition industry of services. And so we have Trinidad and Tobago Coalition of Services Industries. You're going to have it in a similar thing for St. Lucia, and I know that it exists, and in all of the other countries. So I'm just letting you know there are places that you can reach out to within the region to begin to get that level of support, so that when you are preparing your export plan, because you do need a plan from a strategy perspective, some type of roadmap to guide you, you know, you have that level of support. So moving forward, what we are asking ourselves is, have I done the research? Have I fixed the internal gaps? Many of us, we are looking at exporting, but from an internal perspective, do we have the team? Do we have persons with international trade experience or some level of exporting experience? If we are a manufacturer, for instance, do we have the production capacity to actually even turn our left eye and focus on exporting? Sometimes all of our capacity within our production is focused on the domestic market, and we really probably need to ramp up before we can even look at exports. So it's a lot of different things in terms of assessing, and this is where under capacity, where we are at, what we need to do in terms of getting ourselves in gear or getting ourselves ready to deliver as it pertains to export growth. So am I ready to deliver and grow without burning out or even breaking systems? Do we even have the systems in place within the company as well? Okay, so in terms of the assessment phase, you need to know who you're selling to and why they're buying. You need to also would have tested the demand, and you need to understand the rules of the market. And then, of course, again, going back to the whole question of internal capacity so that you can deliver. So this very simple framework works because it's practical, works because it's flexible. And believe you me, I am running through this, skipping a lot of steps because it's just 1 hour that we have together. And a lot goes into this if we are working one-on-one. But the framework actually works, and when it is matched against the business realities in terms of our Caribbean entrepreneurs and business owners, the gaps become very real, and we are able to see them at a glance and work to try and work out those kinks within our businesses. So for first-time exporters, we want to start smart, and for the experienced ones, to scale, particularly with clarity in terms of moving forward. So the last thing I would want to say here is that whether you're in agribusiness, you're in fashion, you're in consulting, you have a place in terms of this, journey. And I just want to ask, is it Jeffrey that spoke just now? I'm trying to remember, I can't see anyone. I just wanted to ask one of the exporters, one of the companies that are already exporting, where they see themselves on this export growth path. Anyone? Can you look at the growth path and see where you are at right now? No?
When I look at my daughter's business, which is what we are considering for the export market, we are still in stage 1. We are looking at, yes, we are looking at 1, the capacity, how ready we are to satisfy demand, the source markets, we are examining all of that. So we are still in stage 1 right now.
Okay, so you're still in the assessment stage. Are you getting any assistance from your local trade facilitation agency or small business development agency or so?
We have we have one agency that we're working with, but that is more local. We need to, and we have not yet reached out to Export Barbados.
Right.
Which would be the agency. We have another organization in Barbados that we can look at, and we will be joining them. They also do exports and promos outside of Barbados. So we're looking at those opportunities as well.
Right. Okay. All right. Sounds good. And the thing is, you know where you have to go and who you have to get in contact with, and that's important. Yeah. All right. So thanks for sharing. So what we're going to do now, guys, is basically I want you to actually look at the screen. This is a live activity in terms of you checking your export readiness. It's a checklist, and I want you. There are 10 questions. And I want to give you 60 seconds for you to answer each one of these questions. And you're scoring yourself with 1 point. So can you just score yourself? This is between you and your business, but I just want you to actually go through these 10 questions. It's an export readiness assessment that works, that kind of gives you, tells you exactly where you are and kind of guides you to your next steps. So for persons who are not sure if they're ready to move into a new market, this is your moment of truth. So here's what we'll do. As I said, we're taking the 60 seconds, and I want you to be honest. You don't have to share this information with anyone, but if you want to be intentional about your export, your advancing your export agenda, you can feel free to put your score into the chat. Yeah. So just be honest. As I said, 1 point for every yes. And remember, strong local demand means your product or service is already proven at home, meaning that it works in your domestic market. You have strong sales happening. Yeah. The persons who are now joining us, just as you would see on the screen, this is an export readiness checklist, and I'm asking you to rate yourself, score 1 point for each yes that you give within of this 10-point checklist here, and then there's a scoring legend at the bottom that tells you, where you're at. Has anyone completed it as yet? Okay. Anne-Marie, this is why we are here. Don't worry about that. Just started to look into this. Okay, great, Vanessa. Yes, Anne-Marie, this is where you start, and you start building out that roadmap. But it's important for us to know where we are at before we can move forward. Many of us just jump in, or even start operating in a domestic market, and before we actually get anywhere, we are looking to move in terms of exports. Yeah, fantastic, Anne-Marie, great. Still researching. Okay, great, Luke. So if I'm to take that, it means that on the export framework that we just went through, the 3-stage process, you are now on the assessment stage in terms of stage 1. Anyone else would like to share? How are we doing? Whoa. All right, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you for your honesty. Oh, I have people coming in. Maybe they did not get the 7 out of 10. How are you feeling with the 7 out of 10, Kevin? Can you share with us? What are your thoughts? Okay, I'm not seeing. Okay. How many more persons are working on it? Has everybody concluded, finished? Or need to know more about the paperwork? Okay. All right. So that is on the regulatory side, Kevin, in terms of documentation for exports, customs duties, and all of that, logistics. Donna, okay. Less than 5, getting there. Fantastic. Great. Luke? Right. Okay, great. Yes, Kevin. All right, wonderful. Okay. Anybody else is still working and wants to share? All right. Okay, hopefully I have to send out the export and lead starter kit. It's going to have some more of these types of templates in it. So I would want to encourage you guys to actually work through the starter kit when you receive it. Okay. All right, great. Thanks a lot for participating and sharing. All right. So again, this is about exporting and in terms of leadership. And I think that exporters, our SMEs need to have a leadership mindset, because you also need to guide your team and to really work with them in order for you to execute the vision for the business and also to advance your export development agenda. Right? So now that you have scored yourself on the export readiness, you've got a sense of where the business stands. But let's be real. Readiness doesn't begin and end with systems or strategy. It starts and ends with you. So exporting isn't just a business move. It's a leadership journey as well. And from what I've seen in the region, the businesses that succeed regionally and internationally all have one thing in common: a leader who is willing to evolve. So let's just look at 5 core traits of export-ready leaders. And the first thing is vision. It starts with the belief, because I can tell you something, exporting is not for the faint of heart. You also need to have the financial wherewithal, because this is a long game. Yeah. So you want to have someone who believes that they can take it to the end of the line. They can take it and actually run with it together with their team and get into the markets that they have targeted. Okay, so it starts with belief, right? I remember one beauty brand founder in Grenada, actually. I was attending a conference and I remember her telling me, she says, I saw my products on Canadian shelves before anyone else did. And the fact that she was able to say that out loud, that clarity drove her entire strategy. And in 3 years, she was part of a virtual meeting that I had last year, and she was very happy to see me, and she says, you know my product is on the shelves in Canada. I said, wow, that's really amazing. And in 3 years she did nothing else but focused. Small team, it's just a small business of 4 persons. At the time when we spoke, it was just her and one other person, and she was able to get that brand on the shelves in Canada within the diaspora market, of course, within a 3-year time frame. Okay, so again, it starts with belief, and then there's resilience, right? A B2B company I work with, I remember they got rejected 5 times before finally landing a deal. especially in terms of service type businesses. It takes a long time sometimes to actually cinch the deal. But these people, they were gung-ho. Their leader was on top of things. They just kept refining their strategy, recalibrating, and eventually it won. They won, and they were able to start exporting in that particular market. Next, we have agility. A Trinidadian manufacturer had pivot mid-year from retail to bulk purchasing when the market signals change, and just that quick shift protected their sales. Yeah. So the other thing as well is about cultural intelligence. Knowing how to sell is just as vital as what you sell. I'll say that again. Knowing how to sell is just as vital as what you sell, right? A Jamaican brand pitched the same story in the UK and Miami. One hit, the other miss. And I would leave that there for you to think about. One hit and one miss, right? And finally, in terms of a leadership mindset, we're talking about focus. The hardest trait that I have found in all the over 85 companies that I have coached and mentored over the last 5 years, it's focus. Just that trait for us to just keep focus on where we're going and what we're doing. The fact is, the exporters who win, they start narrow with one product, one market, and then they go deep. So take a moment and tell me which of these traits is your strongest. Anybody? Drop it in the chat, or you can put on your mic and let me know. And where do you think you have to build? Anyone? Whoa, let me see what's in the chat. Vision, okay. Anne-Marie, so resilience is your superpower. Excellent, Lisa, excellent. Focus, great, 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 great. And again, which one of these traits do you think that you are ready to grow this year so that you can make an impact? We know what you're strong in terms of traits. So which one do you believe that you have to grow? Vision, Vanessa. Vision, Lisa. Okay. Agility, Wendell. Okay, fantastic. Vision again, Donna. Great. Well, we know what we have to do. We definitely know what we have to do. Okay. So we're just going to cross over because we are getting close now to the end. And I just wanted to share with you guys 2 coaching programs that are being rolled out in the month of July. And the first one is our Inveni Mastermind that we're actually launching for export-minded entrepreneurs. So this is for early stage or existing exporters who basically want a safe space to grow and connect and act without doing it alone. It's basically peer-driven for those of you who may know what a mastermind is all about. But there will be monthly strategy calls with myself, and you have community Q&A engagements, and you'll be getting tools and templates, and definitely insights in terms of market entry and growth. So you are coming to this these sessions, it's from July to basically December, or maybe even 2 in November because of the month of December and what it is in terms of Christmas. But you're coming into a hot seat environment, and you're coming there with your burning issues, and we're going to be treating with those issues in terms of exports. What that means for you is that you are getting support to actually drive the export results that you are seeking, or setting yourself up and getting ready for exporting in 2026. However, Like anything else, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And we're just seeking only 10 persons required for this particular initiative, this particular mastermind program, and more information can be provided. It is priced very well in terms of current costings. So persons who are interested from this particular webinar today, you will be able to afford the price of $150 US per month for your participation in the mastermind. Okay, so the next coaching option is for persons who coaching for CEOs and leaders ready to scale regionally and globally. And this is a pretty intense 6-month program. And we go all the way in terms of developing our export plans. We talk both leadership and exports. This is proven and tested. And again, here you would see the access to the Inveni export strategy model, which is an 8-point framework that we actually utilize with exporters, going really deep within your business. We'll be looking at developing your export strategy, market entry strategy, looking internally in terms of the internal systems and structures that you have in place within the business, looking, providing you with dashboards and assessments as we go. This is not coaching for someone who is, lukewarm. This is for someone who is, or a company that isn't really interested in driving serious results as it pertains to export growth and development for their business, setting their business on a path for success through exports in 2026. So held virtually, and also if you are in Trinidad and Tobago, a hybrid virtual and in-person will be worked out. But it would be held virtually. There's also an option for team sessions as well within your company. But we really get into it. I have done this for the 3 years, working with our local exporters with significant success at the end of the day, and more of that for persons who are interested. Yeah, so there's a sign-up period in terms of that. Persons who are interested, if you sign up within the 48 hours of this training, this webinar today, you can access the rates that you're seeing there. So don't forget as well that there is my free export and lead starter kit that's going to be coming to you after this session, and most likely I'll send it out tomorrow. Okay, so this is our final reflection and in terms of the action plan, and I have some questions here, and I want to hear from you guys. What was your biggest takeaway? What's your next move? Very, very important. What's one small step you'll be taking in the next 30 days? Who is one person you may need to connect with that would help you on your export journey? And what is one long-term export goal you will commit to? And again, let's all connect on LinkedIn and keep the conversation going. So, but I want to hear from you guys, choose 1 or 2 questions and let me hear from you right now. There's a reason why you came to this webinar today. It means that you are seriously considering exports. Those who are already exporting, we are looking to scale, and we're looking to do it, with a roadmap in place. So I want to hear from you all. What's your next move? What's your next move in the next 30 days? What's one small step you're taking, and what's that next move that you're going to do after the session? Let me see who's here with me, and I can call some names. I can't see you though.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Who am I speaking?
Hi, my name is Carla, and I'm from Grenada. So I'll just share, I
Yes.
got in it, but I'll share my biggest takeaway. But
Sure.
it's really that you cannot underestimate how important research is and
Yes.
being prepared. But at the same time, you have to be flexible
Yes.
and resilient. So for me, I'm still in the starting stages in terms
Right.
of, having a business plan and where I want to go, but ultimately it is the export and the scale that export. So the layout that you have was really helpful in terms of assessing where we are. My background is in trade, international trade. I work with trade. So I have a fair understanding of, the customs procedure side of it, markets, what you need to get in terms of market access. So I'm a bit confident in that, but still I cannot underestimate how important research is, being prepared and being able to navigate unforeseen, because it happens from time to time. So thank you very much for your presentation today.
Sure, no problem, Callahan, and lovely having you join us. Excellent. Come on, someone else, let's go. Let me see. All right, so Vanessa is planning the roadmap and work with the export growth path. Okay, good. Excellent. Start with research. Listen, we can't underestimate research. Shireen, no, it's one session per month in the 6 months. It's not every day. Yeah. And it's a 90 minutes to 2-hour session if you're referring to the mastermind. And if you're referring to the one-on-one coaching program, that is 2 75-minute sessions per month, but there's a lot of follow-up in between. So you will be hearing and seeing a lot of me. Yes. Okay, guys, I want someone to tell me what is one small step that they're going to be making in the next 30 days to put their company on a path for growth in terms of exports. Can I have Luke, or can I have Jeffrey, or can I hear from Wendell?
I wanted to ask a question, but I wasn't sure if it was a fair question. But
let me hear.
Do I ask or don't ask?
No, ask the question.
I realize you obviously have a lot of experience in this, and I was wondering from your experience. Well, a lot of people have the ambition to be able to have the products in the States, and when they undertake it, they realize it's very rigorous. A lot of documents and things need to be passed. But although Grenada is the closest opportunity in terms of export, doesn't necessarily mean that's the easiest one. From your experience, where in the Caribbean is pretty much based on, I guess it would depend on the industry, pretty much a good location to go after.
It depends on product. It depends on industry in terms of where you want to target.
Let's say like the small manufacturers, like whether it's pepper sauce, wines, those kind of things out of Trinidad and Tobago.
Out of Trinidad and Tobago, you can actually, there are many markets within CARICOM that you can target with respect to that. Actually, I was just in Barbados last week, and they are going guns in terms of pepper sauce manufacturing. It's really huge. And I would also want to suggest that when you do your market research, and I'm going from I'm saying this from a pepper sauce manufacturer from pre-COVID, which would have been 2019. I would have spoken to Giselle. She was actually considering getting into Jamaica with her pepper sauce, and it took some time. It took a while, but I know that she is there. Grenada is also a good market for that. And maybe even some of the OECS islands, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and so smaller markets. But I think that they can appreciate taste, and it may be easier for you to get in with smaller volumes. And yes, logistics from Trinidad to Grenada is better and easier for some. You're correct. You're correct. Thank you, Caroline. Yes. So Luke, I hope that helps you a bit.
Yes.
But I would want to encourage you, Luke, can you reach out? Well, they're no longer Export TT. I can't remember the new name of that trade, the Export Facilitation Agency in Trinidad. They also provide research. So you should make contact with them. Okay. It's the Trinidad and Tobago Trade and Investment Promotion Agency. I think that's the new name for it. And they have a research and opportunity department. Okay. Anyone else? What are we taking away? Or someone is in the waiting room. Okay. All right. So feel free, guys. I think you would have gotten the emails. So I can put on my camera now. I could have taken this off. Right. Yes. Great. So yes, so thank you so much for showing up and for being here and allowing me to share that bit of information with you. I want to encourage each and every one of you to continue pressing forward with your export thrust. It's a long game, as I said. Thank you, Luke. Blessings to you as well. It's a long game, and start strong, and that is with the research, that is with the assessment phase of the export growth path, and do everything that you can, build yourself up in your local markets. And the reason why that is said to you is from the mere fact that if you're doing well in your export markets, it doesn't mean that you will automatically do well if you're doing well in your domestic market, it doesn't mean you automatically do well in your export market, but it will certainly give you the confidence to go after exports in a new market. Okay, so don't be afraid. You can and you will. Yes, so I would say to you guys, reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. Feel free. I will include the export framework within the exports and lead starter kit. All right. So any questions, any more questions? Because this brings us to the end of our session today, and I'm saying thank you to each of you once again. Everybody's good? Yes? Fantastic.
Yes. Did you say the slides will be available?
If you would like the slides, I can send it to you. If everyone wants the slides, I can send it to you as well. It's not a problem.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you would be able to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep track. Yeah.
To be able to keep track? Okay, good. So I will do that. Let me just take a picture so I could see who's on the call. Okay, great. All right, Donna. Yes, I will definitely do that. So guys, take good care and reach out. As I said, let's connect on LinkedIn. And we keep the conversation going. Have a good day. Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.